everyone, I'm Missy Grant from Grant Photography. Today I'm going to do a really quick tutorial with you, teaching you how to use curves. Specifically how I use curves to create creamy tones in my images. Now if you're unfamiliar with curves, I've done a really quick simple mock-up for you to explain it better to you. Open up Photoshop just here. Now I use CS6. I'm unfamiliar with elements, but I do know levels will work the same for you guys. So if you're an elements user, levels will help you achieve the same thing. Now when you open up curves, it automatically opens up to RBG mode, which is what we have over here. Now RBG is the lights and darks of your image. So down here on the bottom, we have the darkest point of your image. Generally tends to be the blacks. No matter what it is you've shot, there will be some black tones. So that will be shown here. And up here we have the lights. Now you have a nice line right through the middle, and you can drop a point at any point on this line and drag it up or down. If you drag it up, you'll introduce a light into that point in your image. Drag it down, you'll introduce dark. The second option when you go into curves is the red layer. Same again, drop a point anywhere along this line and you introduce red if you lift it up and cyan if you drag it down. Next option is green. Opposite to green on the colour wheel is magenta. So if you drag up, you introduce green, drag down, you'll introduce magenta. Really great for newborn skin tones. They tend to have a lot of magenta tones to them, or reds. You can use either one to fix up some blemishes or any colour correction that you need for skin tones just by dragging your line up or down in curves. Next is blue. Opposite to blue on your colour wheel is yellow. So if you drag it up, you introduce blue. Drag it down, you'll introduce yellow. Now this is the image over here we have opened up that we'll be working on today. But before I get into my curves, I just want to show you another really quick and handy tool to know. Is you'll notice our little princess here has some bags under her eyes. It's a common problem you get with a lot of your clients, either they have dark circles or bags under their eyes. There's a really quick, simple fix to remove that or soften it. I don't like to remove it completely, but we can't really send out a photo like this to our clients. So this is what I do. I will go up to layer and I will duplicate my layer, which will give me a complete copy of my background. I never work on my background image. It's just something that's a habit of mine. I always keep that back image clean from anything I've done to it. It's also known as a plate image for people who like really technical terms. Okay, so we're going to go over here to patch tool. Now select your patch tool, and what you just want to do is circle where that bag is under her eye and then drag it down to a really nice piece of skin. On the cheek is fine. It's beautiful, little bit of skin there. And we'll do the same for the other eye. And drag it down to a really nice piece of skin. Be mindful she's got a bit of hair there. And we'll deselect. And as you can see, that's removed it completely. It's blended it in with the skin tone. But we still want some line because we want it to look natural. I don't like my clients looking like Barbies, and I'm sure you don't either. So the way I do this is I will just go over to my background copy, which is the layer that happens to do that too. And I'll just lower my opacity. Generally, I keep it around about 50 to 60%. This one I'm going to keep up a little bit higher just because they are so predominant. 60% seems to look really good. You can see if you look really close, there are some details there. They're not completely removed. Nice and natural looking. Successful. Okay, so to do curves, there's two ways to do it in Photoshop. You can go up to the top here and select Image, Adjustment, Curves, and open up curves that way. Or you can go over to your adjustment panel on your right hand side and select curves. I tend to use this one a lot because I like to adjust my opacity. So for this one, as you can see, we've opened up to RBG mode. I just want to, this is our mid-tones of our image here. As you can see, it's in the middle. This is the points of all colour ranges in our image. And I'm just going to lighten my mid-tones up ever so slightly. As you can see, that's just lightened up everything that was mid-tone to that image. Next, I would like to select my red layer. Now this is for the creamy tones. I want to drag the top point, which is my whites, over and introduce a lot of red. I know this looks really drastic right now, but bear with me. Okay, now we'll go to greens, and I only want to add a slight amount of green to my midtones. So you can see that's looking a little bit more creamy there. Now we go to blue. Now I want to add a lot of blue to my darkest point. As you can see here with my scale, my darkest point actually comes right up to here. But I want to introduce it to around about here, where you can see my graph is starting to get a little bit jagged. And I want to drag down and introduce a lot of yellow to my whites. As you can see there, it's still a straight line, but we have a lot of yellow introduced in our lighter colours and a lot of blue introduced into our darker colours. Quite drastic looking, I know, but if you record this when you do it initially for the first time, there's an option to record. It'll save it as an action, which will save you a lot of time, which is what I have done. I've saved it as an action. I can come back to it at any time. And the beauty of this is I've done it so drastic that it'll work on a number of images depending on the light situations. But I generally tend to use it a lot by lowering my opacity down to around about 50%. And as you can see there, it's still nice and creamy. You've got that creamy tone all over. It looks quite natural. It's not forced. It's something you've created, even better. And I'll just show you the quick difference. This is the image we started off with after we've fixed the bags under her eyes, and now we've introduced that creamy tone. Voila! End result, creamy tones. Curves is also really great for adding vignette to your image. Not that this image will work really well to show you, but I'll quickly show you. And it's just circle around where you would like your lightest point in your image. Left click, and you want to refine your edge. And we just want to make that radius a little bit more smoother. Okay. And then you want to feather. Now I'll do radius at 200 pixels. And then I'll do feather again at 150 pixels. And then you want to invert your selection. And then you'll just go up to adjustments or adjustments curves here. And then you just want to introduce dark. And you can see it's introducing that dark everywhere but where you've had that inverted selection. And it's feathering it in very nicely, so it's a really nice way to add vignette. I do that a lot on my fine art images, just so my subject in the middle of my image will pop. So hopefully this helps you guys to use curves, and hopefully you know how to use some creamy tones on your images. Thank you so much for watching.